Unsealing Restricted Naval Archive. File designation, the Philadelphia Experiment. October 1943, a United States destroyer escort, and a claim the Navy has spent 80 years calling a fiction. Every agency will tell you it never happened. I am unsealing it anyway. Decide for yourself what is in here. Here is what the file claims. Picture the dock at Philadelphia. A destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge, wrapped in heavy electrical cable. The goal is impossible, not to hide the ship from radar, to make it vanish, invisible to the eye by bending the field around it. They throw the switch. A green glow rises off the hull and swallows the ship whole. Then the glow collapses, and where the Eldridge had been, there is only open water. And here is the part that should be impossible. At that same moment, hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia, the Eldridge appears in another harbor entirely. Witnesses on a nearby vessel see it sitting there, and then it is gone again, snapped back to Philadelphia as if space itself had folded. But the cost falls on the men aboard. When the field releases them, the crew is not the same. Some sailors, the story says, were found fused into the steel of the hull, part flesh, part metal, still alive. Others were driven permanently insane, and a few, it is claimed, never fully returned, phasing in and out of reality for years. That is the legend. A ship made invisible, teleported across an ocean, and a crew torn apart by physics that should not exist. Sealed away, the story says, forever. Now I cross-reference the record. The Navy denies it categorically, and the Eldridge's own deck logs place the ship somewhere else entirely on the dates in question. There was no such voyage, and the physics required to make a destroyer vanish and fold space around it did not exist in 1943. It does not exist today. And every version of this legend traces back to one man, a copy of a 1955 UFO book scrawled with handwritten annotations mailed to the Office of Naval Research. The annotations were signed Carlos Allende. He claimed he had watched the Eldridge vanish from his own merchant ship. Carlos Allende was really Carl Allen, a Pennsylvania man with a long history of strange letters and stranger behavior. He cited newspaper clippings as proof. Investigators found them. They were real, but they described a routine waterfront fire and a brawl among sailors in a bar. Nothing to do with invisibility. By any normal standard, that closes the case. One unreliable man. No bodies, no ship, no physics. And yet, the file refuses to shut. Because the Office of Naval Research did not throw the Cranks book away. They investigated, they interviewed, they wrote a formal internal report, and that report has never been fully released. And the physics was not pure fantasy. Until his death in 1955, Einstein was still working on a unified field theory, trying to bind electromagnetism and gravity into one equation. And the Navy really was experimenting with electromagnetism on its ships, a classified program called Degaussing, wrapping hulls in cable and current to hide them from magnetic mines. The Eldridge was part of that program. Real cables, real current, a real, then secret, magnetic cloaking project, just not the kind that bends light or folds space. And the ship itself? It was sold to Greece in 1951, served quietly for 40 more years, and its later crews reported nothing strange at all. So here is the shape of it, a tower of true things, with a single impossible story balanced on the very top. So here is my assessment, that the Navy ran a real classified electromagnetic program on the Eldridge, near certain. Probability the Eldridge was rendered invisible or teleported, 5%. Degaussing was real. The rest traces to one unreliable witness. The degaussing is true. Einstein's equations are true. The withheld report is true. What somebody built in the gap between them is the part I cannot verify and the part you will most want to believe. The file is open. The documents that would close it for good are still not public. What you do with that is not my decision. This has been Redacted Intelligence.